17 August 1943. 10:27 in the morning. High above Regensburg, Germany. A United States Army Air Force's B-17 Flying Fortress is already dying. The right wing is on fire. Fuel is leaking. The formation is breaking apart. And inside the aircraft, the pilot has just realized something impossible. Part of his wing is gone. Not damaged. Gone. Torn away by flak. And yet, the aircraft is still flying. But not for long. Second Lieutenant Robert Buck Harris grips the controls. His gloves are slick with sweat. The control column feels wrong. Too light. Too loose. He pulls back slightly. The aircraft shudders. Not stable. Not safe. Behind him, the co-pilot turns, eyes wide. Right wing is hit bad. That is an understatement. Because outside, where metal should be, there is empty air. A section of the wing has been ripped open like paper. Fuel vapor trails behind them. At any second, one spark could turn the entire aircraft into a fireball. And below them, Germany. Enemy territory. No friendly ground. No safe landing. Just flak batteries waiting for them to fall. But something even worse is happening. The formation is leaving them behind. One by one, the other bombers continue forward. They cannot slow down. They cannot circle back. Because stopping here means death. And now, Harris and his crew are alone. Inside the radio compartment, the operator tries to transmit. Static. Interference. German jamming. No clear signal. No help is coming. And at this exact moment, a new threat appears. Fighters. German fighters. Closing fast. From the rear gun position, a voice shouts. Bandits at 6 o'clock. The tail gunner opens fire. 50 caliber machine guns roar. But the aircraft is wounded. Slower now. Drifting. An easy target. Harris makes a decision. A dangerous one. He pulls the aircraft slightly out of formation. Not to escape. But to survive the next 30 seconds. Because staying straight means certain destruction. But turning, with a missing wing section, could tear the aircraft apart completely. What would you do? Hold steady and pray? Or risk everything for a chance? Harris chooses risk. He banks left. Gently. Carefully. The aircraft resists. The damaged wing vibrates violently. Metal screams. Inside the fuselage, crew members brace. This could be the moment it breaks. But it does not. Not yet. Outside, the German fighters overshoot. Just slightly. That small movement. That tiny change in direction. Buys them seconds. Only seconds. But something far worse is about to happen. At 11:02 in the morning, the bomb run begins. Even in this condition, they are still carrying bombs. Thousands of pounds of explosives. And protocol is clear. They must drop them, or risk landing with a flying bomb inside a dying aircraft. The bombardier moves into position, but the bomb bay doors are damaged. They will not open fully. If the bombs do not release cleanly, they could detonate inside the aircraft. Another decision. Another risk. Harris has seconds to choose. Drop now and risk explosion. Or hold and risk crashing with live bombs on board. He gives the order. Open the doors. The mechanism grinds. Half open. Stuck. The bombardier struggles. Manual release. He pulls. Nothing. Pulls again. Still nothing. And then, a jolt. Flak explodes nearby. The aircraft shakes violently. And suddenly, the bombs release. All at once. The aircraft lurches upward. Lighter now. But unstable. Even more unstable. Because that missing wing section was already pushing the limits. And now the balance has shifted again. Inside the cockpit, warning signs are everywhere. Engine number 3 is overheating. Fuel pressure dropping. Control response delayed. And the biggest problem of all. They are losing altitude. Slowly. But steadily. Below them, Germany stretches for miles. No friendly airfield. No rescue. Just forests, rivers, and enemy troops. But Harris is not thinking about landing. Not yet. Because something else is coming. Something faster. Something deadlier. At 11:15 in the morning, they return. German fighters. More of them. And this time, they know exactly which aircraft to target. The B-17 with a missing wing. Trailing fuel. Falling behind. An easy kill. Inside the aircraft, the crew prepares. Gunners reload. Eyes scanning the sky. No one speaks. Because everyone knows the truth. This is the moment. The first fighter dives in. Fast. Direct. Guns blazing. The top turret opens fire. Tracer rounds cut through the air. But the angle is bad. The damaged wing limits their coverage. A blind spot has opened. And the enemy knows it. Bullets tear through the fuselage. Glass shatters. Metal rips. One engine coughs. Then another. Harris feels the aircraft sinking faster now. Controls slipping away. The margin between flying and falling is almost gone. And then, a hit. A direct hit. The right side jolts violently. The aircraft rolls. Uncontrolled. For a split second. It feels like the end. But somehow, it stabilizes. Barely. And in that moment, Harris realizes something terrifying. They are not going to make it back with all engines running. They are not going to outrun the fighters. They are not even going to stay airborne much longer. There is only one option left. A choice that could save them. Or kill them instantly. He looks ahead. Through smoke. Through vibration. Through a failing aircraft. And makes the call. But what he decides next will push this aircraft beyond anything it was ever designed to survive. 11:23 in the morning. 15,000 feet. The aircraft is no longer just damaged. It is failing. Second Lieutenant Robert Harris does something no manual recommends. He shuts down engine number 3. Inside the cockpit, the co-pilot turns instantly. "What are you doing?" Because shutting down an engine now means less power, less lift, less chance to stay in the air. But Harris is not trying to climb anymore. He is trying to survive. Engine number 3 is overheating. Fuel lines are damaged. One spark, and the entire right wing could ignite. What remains of it? He pulls the mixture. Cuts fuel. The engine dies. The vibration changes immediately. Less chaotic. But now, they are flying on 3 engines. With a missing wing section. Deep inside enemy territory. And they are still losing altitude. At 11:26 in the morning, the tail gunner shouts again. They are coming back. German fighters. This time more aggressive. More precise. They have seen the weakness. They know exactly where to strike. From below. From the right side. The exposed side. The first pass comes in fast. Cannons open fire. Not machine guns. Cannons. High explosive rounds. They hit the wing root. The most vulnerable point. The entire aircraft shudders violently. Inside, metal fragments tear through the fuselage. One gunner is thrown back. Injured. Bleeding. The right wing dips suddenly. Too far. Too fast. Harris fights the controls. Pulling. Adjusting. Correcting. But the aircraft does not respond normally. Because it is no longer normal. At this moment, he is not flying a bomber. He is balancing a falling machine. And something unexpected happens. The German fighter overshoots again. Too fast. Too close. The ball turret gunner sees the opportunity. He fires. A controlled burst. The fighter catches fire. Spins. Falls away. One threat gone. But not the others. And now, a new problem appears. Fuel. The flight engineer checks the gauges. Then checks again. Because it does not make sense. Fuel is dropping faster than expected. Much faster. Then he sees it. The leak is worse than they thought. Fuel is pouring out of the damaged wing, streaming behind them. At this rate, they will not run out in an hour. Not even in 30 minutes. They have maybe 20 minutes of fuel left. And they are still over Germany. What would you do now? Try to turn back? Try to land? Or keep going forward? Hoping for something better ahead? Harris makes another decision. He does not turn back. Because turning means more stress on the damaged wing. More drag. More chance of catastrophic failure. Instead, he lowers the nose slightly. The co-pilot reacts immediately. We are descending. Yes. They are. On purpose. Because Harris is trading altitude for speed. More speed means better control. Better control means a chance. A small chance. But this creates a new danger. They are dropping closer to the ground. Closer to anti-aircraft fire. Closer to everything that can kill them. At 11:32 in the morning, they pass through 12,000 feet. Flak begins again. Black bursts fill the sky. Closer now. More accurate. The aircraft flies straight through it. One explosion hits close. Too close. The left engine sputters. Now another problem. If they lose one more engine, this aircraft will not stay in the air. Inside the cockpit, the tension is unbearable. No one speaks. Because every second is a calculation. Every second is survival. And then, something changes. The sky ahead clears. No flak. No fighters. Just open air. But Harris does not relax. Because he knows something the crew does not. They are heading toward a different kind of danger. At 11:38 in the morning, the radio crackles. A faint signal. Weak. Broken. Friendly aircraft. Somewhere ahead. But the message is incomplete. Storm, heavy cloud, visibility 0. A storm. Directly in their path. And not a small one. A massive cloud system. Towering. Unstable. Flying around it would take time. Time they do not have. Flying through it could tear the aircraft apart. And now Harris faces another impossible choice. Stay below and risk ground fire. Go around and run out of fuel. Or fly straight into the storm. What would you choose? He does not hesitate. Straight through. The crew looks at him. Some in disbelief. Some in silence. Because they all understand what that means. Inside that storm, there is no visibility. No formation. No reference. Just turbulence. Ice. And chaos. At 11:42 in the morning, they enter the clouds. Everything disappears. The horizon. The ground. The sky. Gone. The aircraft begins to shake. Violently. Updrafts. Downdrafts. Sudden drops. The damaged wing flexes. Far beyond safe limits. Ice begins forming. On the wings. On the control surfaces. Adding weight. Reducing lift. The aircraft struggles to stay stable. Inside, instruments flicker. Readings jump. And then, the worst moment. A sudden drop. The aircraft falls. Hundreds of feet. In seconds, crew members are thrown against their harnesses. Harris pulls hard. Too hard. The structure groans. This could be the moment it breaks. And then, lightning. A bright flash. Blinding. For a split second, the entire aircraft is illuminated. And in that flash, Harris sees something that changes everything. The wing. Or what is left of it. The damage is worse than he thought. Far worse. Another section is beginning to tear. If it goes, there will be nothing left to hold the aircraft up. And at that exact moment, the controls go loose. Not slightly. Completely. For one terrifying second, the aircraft is not responding at all. No control. No stability. No recovery. They are no longer flying. They are falling. 11:44 in the morning. Inside the storm. The aircraft is no longer under control. For 1 full second. Nothing responds. Not the controls. Not the engines. Not the aircraft. Second Lieutenant Robert Harris feels it instantly. That hollow feeling. When the machine beneath you is no longer flying, but falling. The nose drops. Hard. The altimeter spins. 14,000 feet. 13,000. 12,000. Dropping fast. Inside the fuselage, no one speaks. There is no time. No words can fix this. The co-pilot grips the panel. Eyes locked forward. Waiting for impact. But Harris does something critical. Something small. Something that changes everything. He stops fighting the aircraft. Instead of pulling back hard, he eases the controls. Because pulling too hard will snap the remaining wing. For a moment, he lets the aircraft fall. What would you have done? Fight harder? Or trust the fall? At 11:45 in the morning, the response comes back. Slow. Weak. But there. The control surfaces bite the air again. Harris corrects gently. Not aggressively. Not suddenly. The aircraft stabilizes. Barely. But they are still inside the storm. Still icing. Still losing altitude. Still leaking fuel. And now, a new problem. Engine number 2 begins to fail. The flight engineer sees the drop. Pressure falling. Temperature unstable. If this engine goes, they are down to 2. And 2 engines will not keep this aircraft in the air. Not in this condition. Harris looks forward. Through nothing. Just gray. He makes another decision. He pushes the engines harder. More power. More strain. The engineer hesitates. That could burn them out. Harris does not answer. Because he knows. If they do not push now, they will not make it out of the storm. At 11:48 in the morning, the turbulence peaks. The aircraft slams upward. Then drops again. Ice thickens on the wings. The damaged section creaks. Twists. This is the breaking point. And then, suddenly, light. They break through the clouds. Below them, France. Friendly territory. But no one celebrates. Because the aircraft is still dying. Altitude. 9,000 feet. Still dropping. Fuel. Almost gone. Engines. Overstressed. Unstable. And the landing is still ahead. At 11:52 in the morning, they spot it. An airfield. Small. Rough. But real. Not their base. Not planned. But it is there. And it is their only chance. Harris lines up. But there is a problem. The landing gear system is damaged. If the gear does not deploy, they will have to crash land. With a broken wing. At low speed. On rough ground. The co-pilot looks at him. There is only one question. Gear. Or no gear? Harris tries it. He lowers the handle. Nothing. No movement. Hydraulics are gone. Manual release. The engineer moves fast. Pulls the emergency system. A loud clunk. One gear drops. The other. Stuck. Now the worst possible situation. One wheel down. One wheel up. Landing like this will flip the aircraft. There is no safe way. Only choices with consequences. What would you do? Try again and waste time? Or land like this? Harris makes the final decision. We land now. No hesitation. No second attempt. At 11:56 in the morning, they begin the approach. The aircraft shakes. Barely holding together. Speed drops. Too much. The damaged wing struggles to generate lift. Harris compensates. Constant corrections. Small adjustments. Every second matters. The runway gets closer. Faster. At 100 feet. The left wing dips. He corrects. Barely. At 50 feet. The engine sputters. Fuel almost gone. At 20 feet. Everything goes quiet. Engines starve. No power. Only momentum. At 11:58 in the morning, they hit the ground. Hard. The left gear holds. The right side collapses. The aircraft skids. Violently. Metal screams. Sparks fly. The wing scrapes the ground. For a moment, it feels like it will flip. But it does not. It slides. Slows. Stops. Silence. No fire. No explosion. Just silence. One by one. The crew moves. Alive. They made it. But the story does not end here. Because later that same day, after emergency repairs, after inspection, after everything they just survived, that same aircraft, with a partially rebuilt wing, took off again, and flew another mission. This was not luck. This was design. The B-17 Flying Fortress was built to absorb damage. Heavy structure. Multiple engines. Redundant systems. But design alone is not enough. It was decisions. The choice to shut down an engine. The choice to descend. The choice to enter the storm. The choice to not fight the fall. The choice to land immediately. Each decision, balanced on seconds, each mistake, would have ended everything. This moment mattered. Because missions like this wore down Germany's defenses, forced the Luftwaffe to respond, drained resources, shifted the balance of the air war. But inside that aircraft, none of that mattered. It was not strategy. It was survival. A missing wing. Failing engines. No fuel. No control. And still, they brought it home. And flew again.